What's going on, you guys? NSP Football Talk here, and we are back with my favorite segment, Fantasy Live, you guys. Lime time. I'm here with Vincent. How you doing, Vince?
Doing good, man. It's been a good morning. Finished a lot of assignments, and I'm ready to give all these people the best picks that they can possibly get.
Okay. Yeah, I think so too. We are coming out to the second half of the season, you guys. So fantasy is almost over. We are
I think it's like 5 or 6 more weeks, including this week.
Yeah, that's right.
5 weeks.
So what's up, Nestor? Thank you so much for being here. Part of the Facebook faithfuls is what we called them yesterday. I appreciate you being here, man. Vince, what did you think about last night's game?
I hate the calls, man. I hate this taunting rule because half the time I can understand what they're doing, and half the time I don't know what they're calling. Last night, I did not agree with the call that they made. I saw him staring down the sideline, but he was basically at midfield.
What's going on, JD? Appreciate you being here.
But yeah, man, I don't get that. Like, he's too far away from the sideline to call that taunting. I mean, if anything, he could be looking up at the crowd at that point. They gave speculation that he was like talking trash to the punter, but they didn't throw the flag until the referee kind of like hip checked him. And
yeah,
I saw that as weird. I didn't understand that.
that's definitely weird. But yeah, like I said yesterday, the NFL it's kind of soft now. They need to toughen up. I mean, I get you want to protect the players, you want a clean game, but sometimes I think they take it too far. But we're here for fantasy, man. Let's talk some fantasy football. First thing you guys need to know: Week 10 bye weeks. We got the Bears, Bengals, Giants, and Texans. So the Bears, David Montgomery just got back. He's on a bye week, okay? You want to start Justin Fields because he's been running a little more? He's on a bye week. Bengals, you got Tyler Boyd, Higgins. You got Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, Mixon. You got almost half a fantasy team on there. Bye week. Giants, Saquon Barkley's out. So who do you got? Tony, maybe. Honestly, maybe Tony. Texans, if you have anyone for the Texans, just stop playing fantasy. We got a question here. It says, I need help. QB, Kirk Cousins or Taysom? Then flex Judy, Carter, or AP. I currently have Adams, AJ Brown, Dalvin, CMC, and Kittle, Tucker, and Panthers D as starters, 12-man standard.
Jeez.
Okay. You really want to get into it, huh?
Dude, this guy's team is stacked already.
It's stacked, but I mean, just like me, we could relate because we could have a stacked team, but also, they underperform, and that's what kills you because you're losing games that you're supposed to be winning. So he might be in the same predicament. So let's help this guy out, Vince. What are your first thoughts?
Boy, it's an easy pick for me right there, both at QB and flex. I would put in Kirk Cousins over Taysom Hill because he's not going to get the time of day over there in the Saints organization for some reason. The flex is kind of a little bit harder. It's just dependent on matchup, but I got Carter doing the better part of it if I'm picking the right Carter, if he's talking about the New York Giants Carter. But if not, I don't think Jerry Judy is going to have a good week next week. And AP, he's probably going to get the same amount of production. He wasn't running the same as he usually does in past years and when he was younger. They said when he was playing against the Rams that he was running high, and he needs to fix that because every time he was getting hit, he was getting pushed back. So I don't think AP is a guy to start just yet. He needs a few more weeks to get back into his rhythm. So I choose Carter.
Nice, nice. And I will agree with you 100%. I will go Kirk Cousins. He hasn't been doing that bad. He's or more or less consistent. I'll pick him over Hill any time of day. I think they're going to give Trevor, some more snaps. So I'll put that there. Then flex, Jared Judy. The Broncos did great last week. It was a freak game. Cowboys didn't play that well, but I don't see him being consistent. I know he just got back, but I'll wait it out maybe a week or two. I don't see him being consistent. Same thing with Courtney Sutton. He's just taking that spot. Carter probably be the safest pick you see there. He's going to get some carries. He's been a point guy, so he would take point on that offense. Or Adrian Peterson. I like Adrian Peterson, but remember he's sharing that workload. So I think the safest bet there will be with Carter and then Kirk Cousins. And I love your lineup, man. Devonte Adams, AJ Brown, Dalvin Cook. That guy had a monster week. CMC, he's not 100% back as far as point wise. Kittle tore it up last week. It might be a different week playing up against the Rams unless they suck like they did last week. Tucker and the Panthers defense. That's awesome, man. Congratulations. Like you said, you're 4-5. Yes, we can relate. Trust me, it hurts. But hang in there, dude. That's why we're here. And Panthers defense, you might want to think
Yeah.
about that. They're playing against the Cardinals. I always switch out my defense week to week. It is getting tougher and tougher, especially if you're playing in a big man league, like in one of my leagues. We're in 3 leagues each, all separate leagues. Well, one separate league. But yeah, that's going to be a tough matchup against the Cardinals. They're a point machine, and that's because Kyler Murray should be back that game. So
Yes, sir.
something to look out for. But as far as the QB range, if you guys are hurting in QB range, because I know I was for a while when Russell Wilson was out, but he's coming back. He's coming back. Great news for Seattle fans. Horrible news for everyone else, except for people who has him on fantasy. Um, but what I was going to say, biggest question: Patrick Mahomes. What the HE double hockey sticks is going on? Okay, I've had Patrick Mahomes in the beginning of the season. Yeah, he's been a point machine, but these past 3 weeks, he's been hurting me. He cost me the game. I believe he only had like 10 points in a PPR NFL fantasy league. It hurt. It hurt a lot. So if you guys are looking at desperate need um, for a quarterback, we got you right here. Let me read some of the comments. JD says, awesome. Thank you guys. You guys are the best. All these studs underperform. Trust me, we can relate. And then you put, do I hold on to Trey Lance to see if he starts? That's a good question. And no, there are not too many questions. We love this. We don't always go live for fantasy talk. So if you have these questions beforehand, DM us. We're on Twitter, Facebook. You could get our email. Let me put our ticker right here for Twitter. But yeah, no, we love these questions. So Trey Lance, obviously Niners fan here, so I could help you out. They are going to be starting Jimmy G. They're going to be starting Jimmy G for the next 2 weeks minimum. Okay, next 2 weeks minimum, Jimmy G will be starting. Do I want them to start Trey Lance? Maybe not. Do I want them to give Trey Lance opportunities to get out there to learn the system more? Yeah, get more NFL experience. But should you hold on to him? I think it'd be safe if you drop him and then in a week pick him up again. Drop him if you need help. If you don't need help, keep him. Keep him for whatever. Because at the end of the season, he will be starting at the end of the season, though. Okay, so minimum, Jimmy G will be starting for the next 2 weeks. Maximum, he could start for the next, 4 to 5 weeks. So honestly, I don't think it's a too much of a drop if you drop him or if you decide to keep him. But if your team is stacked and you got some extra spots available, I say keep him for uh, I'm trying not to say the other word, but for shoots and laughs and giggles, or I don't know what you say. Mario Rodriguez, hey man, what's going on? I got one for you fellas. Currently have Hollywood Brown at wide receiver 1, Pittman wide receiver 2, Pitts at tight end. Should I put Hopkins or Lockett at flex, or Kittle tight end or flex? Ah.
Oh man, that's a better one than the last one we had. That one we actually got to think about.
I'll tell you one thing. Oh, what were you gonna say?
No, go ahead.
Okay. First off, yes, I do agree with you, JD. Let the peacock lance fly. That guy's 21 years old, youngest QB in the NFL as of right now. So yeah, let him do his thing. Let him learn. Just don't let him get hurt. Going back to Mario, it says I got one for you fellas. I have Hollywood Brown, wide receiver one, Pittman two, Pitts, tight end. Should I put Hopkins or Lockett at flex or Kittle? That's a tight end at flex. Kittle had his first game back. Okay, he tore it up. He is the go-to guy whenever the 49ers are in trouble. He's the go-to guy. He is the guy, our safety blanket, okay? So he's going to be getting a lot of targets. Doesn't mean that the passes are going to be great. This past week, passes were great. We did go up against, an injured, riddled Cardinals team, but now we're going up against a Rams who just got off a loss, now playing a divisional game. Their defense is going to be stacked. Von Miller is going to be playing that game. I'll say if you want to play it safe, they might use George Kittle more of a blocking tight end that game. So I would say no on the George Kittle. Now, Tyler Lockett and D Hop. We got Russell Wilson coming back, but they're going up against a Packers defense who also came off of a tough loss. They want to prove something. I like Lockett a lot. Real inconsistent in points, but when he's on, that boy is on. Hopkins, you got Kyler Murray coming back. He's going to be getting some targets. Everybody eats on that team. I mean, everybody. And I think AJ Green is coming back that game as well. But Hopkins is getting targets, and the Arizona Cardinals, they're going up against the Panthers. They do got good corners, but I think they're really going to expose that rookie out there. So in my pick, I would put D Hop as your flex.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna say the same. Hollywood Brown gets his touches. Pittman gets a lot of touches now. I'm so glad I picked that guy up off free agency a while back. Pitts, he's been underperforming lately, uh, but I still think that he's gonna make some noise against the Cowboys. Uh, but yeah, I agree with AJ. Usually when the the 49ers play the Rams, they have a lot of blocking. They want to run it down their throat, get that defense tired, and then maybe throw it over the top a few times. But it's going to be a hard game, so I think you sit Kittle as well. With Lockett, I want to trust him, um, but it's going to be hard because Wilson's barely going to come back. Lockett really hasn't had a lot of games lately that he's been outperforming. So I think D Hop is that safe pick if he does play. I know him and Kyler were both injured. So I think if he's healthy and Kyler's healthy, Hopkins is the guy.
Hey Mario, thank you so much for being here, man. We appreciate you shooting us a question. And guys, JD, Mario, if you guys are still here, whoever's watching, remember, we just hit 100 subscribers, you guys. That's huge for us. We just hit our second milestone, and because of that, we're doing a huge giveaway. If you guys don't know what the giveaway is, I'm going to tell you guys right now, but it's also on Twitter and Facebook, okay? So all you have to do is retweet or share, tag a friend, and make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, and then you guys are automatically entered in our giveaway. Okay, it's huge. Okay, it's a random autographed mini helmet. It is awesome. I really wish I could keep it. It's awesome if you have a little sports room, man cave, have it out there displayed. It does come with a letter of authenticity, so it's legit. Okay, so go out there if you haven't done so yet, and go and enter it on the giveaway. JD says so. Joe Dirt Joe Dirt Goddard over. I like that, by the way. Joe Dirt Goddard over Kittle. Okay.
The Eagles playing the Broncos.
The Eagles are playing the Broncos, who played phenomenal against the Cowboys, who I do not think they could do it again. But I'm not bashing on the Broncos whatsoever. If you guys listened to us in the beginning, when we first started the podcast, I like the Broncos. I really wish the best on them. But over Kittle, it just really depends what type of play style the 49ers are going to be playing. Now, you have another running back coming in. You have Jeff Wilson Jr. coming in. So now the Niners are going to be back in the 3-back set. Okay, so you're going to do a lot of blocking. Kyle Juszczyk has taken on all that when Kittle was injured, and when Kittle came back, you saw him running a lot of routes. But remember, that defense is straight on. But do I trust Goddard?
I don't either. If those are the only two tight ends you have, I say you keep listening right now, and we'll tell you the tight ends that are hot right in a little bit. but I'm looking at Goddard's production right now. The past few weeks, he's been playing against teams that are not in the top 5 of defenses against tight ends, and Denver is number 3 against tight ends in that field. So it's gonna be hard to trust him, but he hasn't put up any big numbers. He gets his targets, but he hasn't had a touchdown since week 4. So it's hard.
Honestly, though, if it was coming down to those two, I
I
choose
choose Goddard.
Kittle.
You choose Kittle?
Oh,
I choose Goddard.
whoa, that's weird. You chose Goddard. I
Yeah.
choose Kittle because if, let's say, the Niners do decide to do so, because right now Debo is freaking hot. Kittle just came back. He will receive those targets. I just don't think he will be an absolute playmaker. There is still a chance where he excels and just does amazing, but me honestly, if I was in your predicament, I would go Kittle just for the chance of getting targets. But right now, Vince, he is our tight end guy. Pointing at him over here, he is our tight end guy. He has all the insights. But those are two good tight ends to have there. That's a good problem to have. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, that's always the hard part when you have 2 or 3 good players at a position. It's always hard to see who's gonna outshine who that week. So it's up to you, man. Honestly, we can tell you all the facts here, but it's ultimately your decision on who you want to go with.
Yeah. Wow, guys, I love the questions. That is awesome. We literally spent the first half of the episode on questions. This is awesome. This is why I personally like to go live. Of course, we cannot always go live for fantasy talk because we got crazy schedules, but we do this because we love to do this and we love helping y'all out. Like I said, we just like to talk football, honestly. JD says, thank you guys. Big help. Hey, man, thank you. You're a big help here watching our podcast, being a supporter. We appreciate you. And if you haven't yet, go enter in that giveaway because I want to spread this out, man. This is huge. I mean, you could get this type of giveaway on a big channel. Right now, we're not that big, but in hopes to do so one day, we're giving out to y'all, showing our appreciation. Also in our community, I'm wearing the Crucial Catch hat. If you find me on Facebook at AJ Alvarado, out of NSP, we are doing a fundraiser to help spread awareness of cancer. So if you guys don't know that, we're all over the place. Okay, we're super busy. Today's my day off. Okay, this is super rare. I never have days off, but I am still working all over the place. I already got the gym time done. I did this. I walked my dog, did what I need to do. Now I get to do what I love. Awesome. But I get to do it here with you, Vince. Appreciate you being here.
Yes, sir. No problem. Love doing this.
So cool. So first things first, like I said, big question was Patrick Mahomes. He's been underperforming, and if you do not trust him, because I have him in my league, which he was the reason why I lost. I mean, you have great players that underperform, and if you need a quarterback last minute, and there's no one out there. Last week I said your last resort should be Mike White, which if he would have stayed healthy, he would have had 1,000 points. I could almost guarantee it, but. You never know what's going to happen. Injuries suck. Okay, so he got hurt. Jimmy G still played decently well against a tough Cardinals defense. He got what was it? Close to 20 points, right?
Yeah,
Close to 20 points. But then I was looking at different quarterbacks, and I was like, are these guys seriously like not owned in over 50% of leagues? And I'm talking Matt Ryan, Carson Wentz, and this was going to be cringy a little bit, but I'm also talking about Teddy Bridgewater. Okay, these guys are averaging over 15 points, well over 15 points, but these guys are consistent more than anything. They air the ball out a lot, and their roster percentage is under 50%, except for Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is at 53. But if you guys are in desperate need of a quarterback, I say aim out for those guys. Matt Ryan and Carson Wentz, preferably before Teddy Bridgewater, but they're consistent dudes. And Matt Ryan, the ice is back in his blood. Matty Ice is back. He was on fire. He was airing out the ball. They throw 85% of the time, the Atlanta Falcons do. So I think that would be a good pickup. Do you have any say so on the QB position, Vince?
I got 2 guys other than what you talked about. One guy, he's not so flashy. So if you don't have those guys that AJ just talked about, since they are owned in about like around 50% of leagues, we got Ben Roethlisberger. He played last night. He's not stellar, but he's like consistent in between like 12 to 16 points. And I know that's not like what you want, but if you're really having problems right now, or you have someone that's injured, or you're in a 14-man league like this guy over here, and there's not many picks, I'd say Ben Roethlisberger, and then a guy that is not owned at all pretty much because he's been injured since week 1, and me and AJ were both sad when we heard about his injury. Ryan Fitzpatrick is supposed to come off of injured reserve, so there is a chance that he can play. I think Heineke is doing great over there in Washington, but I think if Ryan Fitzpatrick comes back, that was the guy that they were going to run with from week 1 and on. So he's supposed to average, or he has projected points of 18.56. So I think if he comes back, he's going to take that offense and run with it. So those are my two for the ones that are under 20% owned in leagues.
All right. And I do apologize. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. You guys just see me look down a lot. Obviously, I'm on my phone, but obviously, I am on fantasy football. This is the only reason why I will be looking down. I'm working out a blockbuster trade right now. We're going the back half of the season. Currently, in my 14-man league, guys, a 14-man league. This is huge. Okay. I am 8-1. I've only lost one game. I'm not going to say why, but it was, bye weeks and injuries, whatever. But I'm still 8-1, and I'm still trying to make my team better so I can guarantee that dub in postseason. So I just made a huge trade for Jamar Chase. Yes, I acquired Jamar Chase, and I gave up what some might think it's a lot, but we're going to tell you why it's not a lot. Okay, I gave up Mike Williams, a wide receiver for the Chargers, and Myles Gaskin. You want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
Well, I'll talk about Mike Williams. He hasn't been producing, so I think that's a great trade, especially if you're going to get a guy right now who's on fire. So, yeah, so I think that part of the trade is really good. You're trading away a guy that used to be a gem, but now he's fallen down the toilet and gotten flushed a few times. But yeah, I think that's a great trade because I don't believe in Gaskin as well, but I'll let you talk about that.
Awesome. I appreciate you. Yeah, Mike Williams, he was a gem. JD says he likes that trade a lot. Gaskin is out of gas. Who is this guy? I like him. I like him a lot. Yeah, he had what he said, go dirt, and then Gaskin out of gas. That's awesome. Joe Dirt, that's what he said. But yeah, okay, so who was it? Mike Williams. He did awesome in the beginning of the season. Is falling off is because teams are starting to see that wide receiver number one, that biggest threat is Mike Williams. They're locking him up. He's not, producing as much. So that's something he's going to have to learn. By next year, he will learn how to, face those double teams, get out of there. Believe it or not, he's going to do great next year after he gets a rhythm going, after he learns. But as far as Myles Gaskins, he's so inconsistent. And you know why? Because the Dolphins are just like a healthy 49ers team. They have a 3-set back. They keep switching them. It is crazy how many times they switch their running backs. They switch them almost every play. And if Gaskin's not hot that day and someone else is, you better believe Gaskin's not getting more than 3 points. So yeah, but when Gaskin is hitting on those points, I mean, he is really hitting. Okay. I think, was it last week he had 16, or 2 weeks ago he had, close to 20.
Yeah.
Good for him. Helped me out in fantasy. For some odd reason, I had him on there, probably because of bye weeks. But I think in the long run, I think that's, you get an elite wide receiver for a good running back and a good wide receiver. So yeah, that's why I like it. But yeah, I appreciate you making me laugh. That's funny. Speaking about running backs, let's get into running backs, man.
All right, you want me to go first?
I do want to compliment you before we really get into it. I want to compliment you because I'm going to ruin one right here. This guy's been saying it for the past week or two. He's saying, hey, get Devonte Freeman. And in my head, I was like, this guy's full of it, man. Devonte Freeman, Le'Veon Bell over there at Baltimore. Ain't nothing to it. Devonte Freeman had 13 carries. 13 carries. That's the most out of any running back in Baltimore this season. He is getting the ball. They like him a lot over there. Even passing, he had 3 targets. 3 targets, one touchdown as a pass in the red zone. And he's only rostered in 24% of leagues, guys. This guy's available, and he will help you out.
Yes, sir. You are correct. Some other guys that I think are pretty good too. This guy's owned in a lot of leagues, but if he's not, you need to pick him up because he's been doing great. especially even when the starting running back came back this past week. He goes by the name of Kenyon Drake, plays for the Raiders. I know the Raiders are not too hot right now, but they are dishing that ball out, especially in those little dump passes. So the past 3 weeks that he's played, he's got 21 points, 16 points, and this past week, when their star running back came back, he still has 16 points. He caught, I believe he had 4 carries, didn't have a lot of yards. I think it was like 25. And then he had 8 targets and he caught 6 passes for about 80 yards. So he's still getting the ball. I think he's a great guy to pick up if he's still on your free agency. But going on, here are some guys that are not in a lot of leagues. Since AJ already talked about Devonte Freeman, I won't talk about him. But, I mean, the past 3 weeks, he's had 11, 12, and 16. So that's all I got to say. He's still in the offense there. So I'd pick him up. Another guy who I didn't think was going to get a lot of touches in that offense because he was the 4th-string running back before the injury. But his name is Jordan Howard for the Eagles. These past 2 weeks, he's been getting touches at 12 and 17 carries and a couple passes in there too. So he had 17.7 last week and 13.1 this past week. He does go up against a tough matchup in Denver, but I think it's going to be a lot harder to pass the ball than it is to run the ball on that defense. So I would pick him up. He's only in 2.3% of rosters. So
Wow.
he's a gem in the rough. But other than that, I mean, you touched on Devonte Freeman already. I just told my brother this past week to pick him up because he had what's his name from the Jaguars got hurt.
Robinson.
So I told him, hey, man, he's not going to play. I was like, pick up Devonte Freeman. And he got him 13 points, I think. Yeah, 16 points, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, and I do apologize now that we're speaking of Robinson. That was on the thumbnail last week. James Conner's on the thumbnail this sneak. I do want to apologize for the poor thumbnail. I did it in less than 5 minutes, you guys. I was in a rush. I'm like all over the place today. But so I do apologize. Things will get better once we have more time. But I do want to talk about this guy that was on 95% of rosters in the beginning of the league, and now he's down to 45% of rosters. And this guy I'm naming is Devin Singletary. Yeah, but guys, but AJ, Devin Singletary, he doesn't produce anymore. He's a running back. Hey man, chill out. Let's crunch some numbers real quick. Okay, so Devin Singletary, you're right. He hasn't been producing much, but as of last week, Zach Moss got out with a concussion. Okay, and I want you guys to invest into this player only if Zach Moss does not pass concussion protocols, because Singletary rushed 6 times. He had 6 attempts. Okay, but this guy used to average 1 to 2 targets. Last week, he had 8 targets. 8 targets. That's insane. Oh my gosh. So if Zach Moss is out, Devin Singletary is going to be that Derrick Henry of the team. He's not going to be as good as Derrick Henry, but he's going to carry on the whole load. I don't think they're going to give him much help, but he's going to be getting some points. He got 12 points last week. Best believe this following week, he's going to have a lot more going up against a poor Jets defense against the run. So yeah, if Zach Moss is going to be out, check your roster or check your waivers for Singletary. He might be on there. You got a 50% chance. Oh man. Okay, that's pretty good on running backs, huh?
Yeah, I think we gave a lot of tips there.
Yeah, running backs that's a tough position to fill whenever you're hurting. So hopefully you guys could take that. Also, Le'Veon Bell, yeah, he's decent too. I would pick him up. It kind of reminds me of a Chase Edmonds and James Conner duo, So Devonte Freeman and Le'Veon Bell, they're both pretty well. Even though I see Murray coming back soon, just not this week. So Bell is also a decent pickup. I wouldn't trust him to make or break your team, but if you guys just need a couple extra points, I'll put him in there. But let's get into an easier position. Let's get into wide receivers.
Oh yeah, I got a lot of people. There's one guy on here. He's still not picked up in a lot of leagues, and I don't know why. You've been talking about him for the past 3 weeks, telling me that he's going to come out, and he has.
Please don't say it. Please don't say it.
I'll leave him for you then. You want me to leave him for you?
Sure. Okay. Leave him for me.
I'll move on to a guy that's on your actual favorite team. I've been talking about him for the past 2 weeks since their bye week. Brandon Ayuk. Right now, he's owned in 41% of leagues, but if he's not, you have a 59% chance of getting him. And I would try to get this guy because since that bye week, he didn't do much against Indy, but against Chicago and Arizona, he had 10.5 points, and this past week, 18.7 points on 8 targets, 6 receptions. I don't know how many yards, but he's getting those targets. He's back in the offense. He's pretty consistent. I know he had a fumble this past week, but I think that Shanahan is going to pinpoint that because that's not acceptable for anybody on the team to fumble.
It is not. No.
So I think that he's going to pinpoint that, and these guys are going to go off, even though they are playing against the Rams on Sunday night or Monday night.
Monday night. Monday night.
Monday Night Football. It's going to be a good game. There's going to be sharing the ball there. It's going to be run past 50-50, I think, because it's going to be a higher scoring game than you think.
Yes, it really is. I mean, last week it was horrible to be a Niners fan. First drive, we throw to Kittle. Kittle does an amazing catch. He hurdles over someone, but as he's hurting, the ball gets punched out. Cardinals recover, so they score on that turnover. On our next go up, we throw the pass. Amazing, and I do mean amazing catch by Brandon Ayuk. He goes airborne. He catches it. He comes down. No one touches him. He gets up, tries to run, and they knock the ball out of his hands. So that didn't mean anything, but that would have put up some big points for him. But yes, I do agree. Brandon Ayuk is up on the up and up after he had a one-on-one conversation with Kyle Shanahan. Of course, he's going to have another conversation about that fumble, but yeah, he is going to be on the up and up. Expect him to share some targets with some Deebo Samuel out there. But yeah, good pick.
Yeah, I just got 3 more, but one of them. Let me start with this bad news here. I know if some of y'all saw that Raven or the Atlanta Falcons game, Zacchaeus caught 2 touchdowns, but do not pick this guy up. He is on 0.1% of rosters for a reason, because last season, every time he had a big game like this, he came back and had 3 weeks where he had less than 2 points. So he is not a consistent player. Do not fall for this fake gem. He's not going to reproduce this probably all season again. So do not bet on him to score any good points. He may have a couple catches, but he's not going to be that red zone presence. So that's a guy not to get. And usually we don't tell you these things because usually we give those guys a chance, but I've been looking at this guy since last year. He's not that guy. But the person that is that guy right now, I know we talked about OBJ leaving yesterday, and there's this one guy who's in 2.2% of rosters on the Browns. His name is Donovan Peoples-Jones, and he's been doing spectacular. Every game that he has played, he scored against LA Chargers, who's the number 2 defense against wide receivers. He scored 12 points on them, 6 targets, 5 receptions. Next week, he played Arizona, who also has a good defense. When it was back in week 6, they were on top of the world. He had 29.1 points on 4 receptions, 5 targets. And then this past week against Cincy, Zad Zucchini every time. I like this guy, man.
We're gonna get this guy a contract.
I know.
A contract.
But back to Donovan Peoples-Jones, man. This past week against Cincy, he had 19.6 points, only on 2 catches, but both of those were in the end zone. So this guy on on 2 out of those 3 games, he's had at least 1 touchdown. This past week he had 2. Look for this guy to make some noise against the Patriots this next week. My last guy, I've been talking about him for a couple weeks too. He's not projected to get a lot of points, but his name is Allen Lazard. He's on the Packers. He is only in 5.6% of leagues, but he's been consistent these past 4 weeks. He had 11.7, 17. He had a game he didn't play because of the COVID rule and Aaron Rodgers. And then this last week against Kansas City, he had 9 points. So going against Seattle this next week, I see him getting some more catches, some more points, probably scoring a touchdown. I hate to say it, but he is a good wide receiver, and he's pretty good in the red zone. So that's all I got for wide receiver. Oh, I'm sorry. Never mind. I lied.
You lied.
Yeah. Elijah Moore, 11.9% of leagues. He plays for the Jets. Past 3 weeks, 10 points, 13 points. And then this past week against Indy, 27.4 points. He's averaging 7 targets, and he has different catches for each game, but he's putting up points and he's scoring touchdowns too. So look for that guy as well.
Sweet. Nice. I put breaking news down here at the bottom because there is breaking news. Probably not the news that you guys want. It's not about OBJ, but it is about the Browns. I guess by releasing Odell, the Browns do save a little bit of money. So they just extended offensive guard Wyatt Teller to a 4-year contract extension. I think it was worth 43 mil. Awesome. You love to see people get paid. The Browns need that protection up front. So good signing, or good extension, I should say. So good job, Browns. Now back to my wide receivers. I only have 2. Okay, because you guys are not picking up these 2 gentlemen over here. Okay, I mentioned them every single week for the past 4 weeks, guys. For the past 4 weeks, I've been mentioning these guys. And I'm not going to give you guys any other, advantage to your fantasy leagues until you listen to these 2 guys because they are good. 1, Rashad Bateman from the Baltimore Ravens. Guys, he is wide receiver 1 for the Baltimore Ravens. Brown, yeah, he's out there. He's getting double teamed, whatever. He's going to go into Bateman. Okay, he's being consistent. Put him on your fantasy league. Even if he's just on your bench, put him on your fantasy league. You're not going to regret it. I promise you. Number two, blue chip player of the week for the 3rd time, guys. This is my blue chip player, so I'm all in on this player. Okay, it's my blue chip right here. Russell Gage for the Atlanta Falcons. You guys, Calvin Ridley is out for the season. He's gone. Okay. Yeah, I keep saying okay. That's pretty annoying. I'm annoying myself. But the Atlanta Falcons, they pass the ball 85% of the time during the offense. Russell Gage, he gets those targets. He is wide receiver 1. I know I just said that for Bateman, but wide receiver 1, hands down, no one in competition, maybe Kyle Pitts, but he's a tight end, is Russell Gage. He's only owned in 16% of leagues. Why? There's no reason for it. It's a good flex. Put him on. I picked him up. He hasn't failed me. Last week, well, I guess I can't say that because last week he didn't receive any receptions for whatever odd reason. But I said here on this podcast, I said, don't worry about it. It's okay. Take a chill pill. He's coming back. And what did he do? He came back. That guy tore it up. And he's going to be tearing up for the rest of the season. Against Dallas, maybe. Okay. Might not want to start him this week. But going forward, he's going to be that guy. All right. Let's get into your favorite position. Yeah, the tight ends.
Yeah. Heck yeah, man. I mean, this week I only have 3. I've been talking about 2 of them for the longest time. I think I talked about this other one last week as well because he's been consistent and he just had a stellar game last night. So I'll talk about him first. This guy, if you are going to pick anybody up on your waiver wire, he should be at the top. He should be your number 1 waiver wire pick. His name is Pat Fearmuth. I know, AJ, you talked about him last week, too. We were talking about his name and saying it right. But this guy is so consistent the past 3 weeks, even before the bye week in week 7. Week 6, he played the Seahawks. He had 7 targets, caught all 7 targets, had 12.8 points, no touchdowns that game. Week 8 against Cleveland after the bye week, 14.4 points on 7 targets, again, 4 catches. He had 1 touchdown that week. Last night, against a very, very good Bears defense against tight ends, this guy went off. 21.3 points on 6 targets, 5 catches, 2 touchdowns. He is a touchdown machine, especially these past 3 weeks. He plays Detroit this upcoming week, so you better pick him up. You better start him because he's only in 13.9 of rosters. He's already on my fantasies as my number one waiver pickup. So I'm going with this guy. He's going to be on my team. He needs to be on yours too because he's been doing better than a lot of tight ends out there. Another guy, Dan Arnold, I talked about him the past 2-3 weeks. Right now, he's only in 6.3% of rosters, but he's been so consistent. He's had 10 points, and then he had an anomaly game at 4. Then against the Seahawks, 14.8. Against Buffalo Bills this past week, 10 points. He's getting his targets. It's 8, 5, 10, and 7 in the past 4 games. And he's going up against Indy, who everybody who has a tight end on their team, which is all 32 teams, would be able to score a lot of points on them. Let's look at this. Okay.
It says, go ahead. You read it.
He said, I traded Jay Waddle, M. Carter, and E. Sanders, all bench players, for Devante Adams. Thoughts on that trade?
Okay, you said all bench players. So you traded your bench players for Devante Adams that's getting an Aaron Rodgers back. Hopefully, if he passes all this COVID protocol stuff, we'll see what happens. And now he's making a huge movement, so that could also be a downfall for him. Jalen Waddle, inconsistent, don't like it. M. Carter, he's doing good because of injuries. So once team gets healthy again, production downfalls. Emmanuel Sanders has been very consistent, but the one time I put him in my league, he completely failed. Okay, the Bills are looking inconsistent. Oh, for Devante Adams,
I say that's good.
I think that's damn good. That's damn good right there. Sorry for my, you know me, I don't like to cuss too much. That is damn good. Now you have open availability on your bench to hit the waiver wires. So if you haven't been here at the beginning of the podcast, look back, check out our waiver wires. Pick up a Russell Gage, a Rashad Bateman, Devin Singletary, Devonte Freeman. Dude, you're good, man. You're good, brother. Awesome. Hey, thank you for being here. We appreciate you being here, Hollywood. JD, we see you. We're not ignoring you. He says, I need to drop one player to activate Skittles from IR. I love this guy so much. Taysom, Trey Lance, Madison, Chuba. You still have Madison and Chuba?
Madison. Drop Madison. Keep Chuba because Chuba's looking like him and McCaffrey are going to be splitting carries for the next game or two, and then McCaffrey's going to take over. Trey Lance, I mean, we already told you about that. Taysom.
Do you have 3 quarterbacks in your roster right now?
Because if you do, you got to drop one. Pick up another guy we're talking about.
That'll be the safest one. Sick trade, Hollywood. Sick indeed, Hollywood. Awesome. Thank you. I like JD. We're gonna you earn your spot at the designated of faithful fans. Appreciate you being here. Trading like a Hollywood star. We got another one that says CMC and Cup for Adams and Cook. Who's winning the trade? Full PPR. So, oh man, that's tough.
Hard.
That is tough.
Cup is the better receiver, and right now Cook is the better running back.
Awesome. So I think it kind of evens out, but I think that Adams and Cook takes that. Cook had an amazing week last week, or just a couple of days ago. He tore it up. And Devonte Adams, he is more, I mean, I'm not going to say consistent. He does have a couple of bad games, but when he's scoring points, he's scoring some big boy points. And Cup, he's just too consistent. CMC, he's not that consistent guy that we used to know. Okay, he's coming off of injury. He's hurting a little bit. That they're limiting him a lot. So I think that Adams and Cook is the better side of this trade for a full PPR because Adams is getting all those receptions when Aaron Rodgers is in. Okay, it says, yeah, I kept Chuba and Madison for handcuffed. Okay, yeah, I see you. Yeah, I see you. Okay, I like that. I'll drop Taysom and just wait for Lance to start for the playoffs, Mr. Peacock himself. But yeah, Joseph, I hope we answered you correctly and what you wanted to hear. Not saying CMC and Cup is a bad duo, and they're pretty damn good in a PPR, but CMC, he's not that running back this year. The Panthers aren't doing so great, so I feel like they're going to limit him for the entirety of the rest of the season. Because there's no need to put him in a bigger risk, especially if he's been getting injured these past 2 years. Cup is just an amazing receiver. I mean, Rams, they're on fire right now. Devonte Adams, he's gonna be getting a lot of touches. I mean, a lot of targets. That's awesome. Cook never disappoints. I love Dalvin Cook. If you have him in your fantasy, you're a winner. Oh my gosh. I don't know if you see me drinking all this water. I'm talking way too much, man. I'm talking way too much.
You're good, man. You're good. I just got one more tight end. I've been talking about him too, Tyler Conklin. I mean, he's been consistent too past 3 weeks, 10, 10, 9.5, and he's going up against the LA Chargers, who are 27th against tight ends. So, I mean, we just talked about Cook. That offense is going to be going up against a weak Chargers defense right now. They haven't been that great. They're very inconsistent on offense as well. So look for that one to be a slugfest. I believe those guys are going to get a lot of points.
Nice.
That's it. That's what I got.
Cool. And Trilly, Seb, and Hollywood, if you guys are still here, remember, we just hit 100 subscribers on YouTube. We're doing a huge giveaway. All you got to do is either email us at nspfootballtalk.com or go on Twitter or Facebook. We tweet it out. All you have to do is share or retweet our tweet or post, tag a friend, and make sure you subscribe to our YouTube, and that automatically enters you in our giveaway. It's a big giveaway. It's a random autographed mini helmet. It does have the letter of authenticity on it. So, I mean, you're getting the hookups from us. Jeez. Let's finish it off with some defense.
Go for it.
Because you covered up the tight ends, for the most part. Defense, you guys, like and share. Thank you, Nestor. Appreciate you. Part of our Facebook faithfuls, NSPF Not So Pro Football Talk. Just look up Not So Pro Football Talk and you'll find it. If you look up NSPFT, you might have some trouble, but it's Not So Pro Football Talk. I got to reactivate my Twitter now. I want that mini helmet. Hey, man, we only got 100, a little bit over 100 subscribers. So if you enter this giveaway, you have a good chance of winning this. Okay, I'm only predicting like 20 max people entering this giveaway. 100 people have the opportunity to. So you have a 1 in 20 chance. In my expectations, you have a pretty darn good chance of winning it. Okay, and I wasn't going to say this, but yeah, Not So Pro Football Talk. You said it right there. But I wasn't going to say this, but I'm going to throw in a couple extra stuff in there just for a little thank you. But going to defense for fantasy, you guys, if you're like me, I say this every video. If you're like me, you switch up your defense every single week because it's all about the matchups. Defense doesn't win you games. Defense wins you fantasy games. Oh, geez. It's a good episode. I like this episode. Okay, so first off, I got the Bills against the Jets. Vince, you're going to hate me because now I'm putting the Jets out there again. The Bills defense can hold up the Jets if Mike White is not playing. Josh Johnson, he did an amazing job, but the Bills defense is going to come back firing all cylinders against that loss against the Jaguars. They're going to do good. Titans has a big defensive advantage. Yes, I do agree there. They are on my list. Titans against the Saints. Titans just stopped the Rams. If the Titans could stop the Rams, they could stop a Taysom or they could stop a Trevor. Trust me on that. Alvin Kamara is going to be having the whole workload on his back, but it's not going to be enough for the Saints to really put up that many points against the Titans. So I do pick up the Titans defense if you have a chance. The next up, I got the Cardinals against Panthers. Cardinals defense is just stacked against the Panthers. Sam Darnold, biggest disappointing quarterback of all. I'm very disappointed because I wanted Sam Darnold to be very successful for the Panthers. He hasn't been. Get the Cardinals defense. I doubt it's available here, but here's one defense that can be available for you guys. I'm talking about the Indianapolis Colts against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Yes, I'm saying Jacksonville Jaguars. Even against the Bills, they didn't put up that many points. They didn't.
No, what I'm intrigued about is if they're available.
The Indianapolis Colts?
Yeah, they're the number 4 ranked defense in the league.
I know, but people, they always switch off their defense. But just like me, in 2 out of my 2, I believe it was 2, or at least 1 out of 3 of my leagues, they were available. I put them on waiver wires. Okay, so that's all I'm saying. I got the Bills, Colts, Cardinals, Titans defense. That should help you out win a game. As long as the defense gets more than 7 points, that's good enough. Whew.
Well, I know that they're not available in the leagues that I'm in because they're on my team. They've been on my team since the draft, and they have never gotten below, I think, 5 points. Actually, they don't twice at 4-3. But every other time they're above. They've never had negative points. So miraculously, if they are, because they're owned in 89% of leagues, pick them up because they will be your defense for the rest of the season. They have great matchups coming up. Buffalo is not doing too hot. Tampa Bay, they've kind of fell off, but after that, in the last week before they have a bye week, in the last week of the fantasy, they play against the Houston Texans. So they should be getting you big points this next week and week 13. So
sweet. Yeah, in one of my leagues, I put in a waiver request for the Colts, and the other one of my leagues, I put a waiver request for the Titans. So, yes, sir.
Good pickups.
Well, you guys, this was a long episode. We weren't expecting it to be this long, just like yesterday. Yesterday was a long episode as well. But thank you so much for joining us live here on Not So Pros Lime Time Fantasy Talk. A lot of changes coming up, you guys, but we appreciate you, the small community that we have built. We're trying to give back. So like I said, enter on that giveaway. You can find it on Twitter, Facebook, or email me at nspfootballtalk@gmail.com. It's been a long day already, guys. Thank you all so much. If you want to give back to the community, go to my Facebook page at AJ Alvarado. We are starting a fundraiser to spread cancer awareness. That's why I'm wearing the Crucial Cap hat, and that's just because it's stylish, but because we want to give back. So thank you all so much, and until next time, you guys, we'll see you guys on the waiver wire. Laters.